everyone, it's Theia and welcome back to Garden Goddess Tarot and to another Garden Arcana video, the second last one. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. It went by so fast, but that's what happens this time of year. Time just accelerates in a way that seems to slip out of my fingers like the sand falling through the hourglass. If anybody remembers that reference to like a 90s daytime soap opera, you had a mom. Anywho, today we are doing the tower. It is Tower Day. We also have the star and the moon. So I'm very excited to try and find these puppies in the garden. I have a few ideas, but we'll see when we get out there. Also, I've decided it's Marseille Day, so I've picked out some of my fave Marseille style decks, and we are going with that imagery today for the energies we find. I don't know, it just sang, and I think it's these three cards, like the tower, the star, and the moon, are always like bangers in Marseille decks. They always like kill it. They're always so good. So I've got some delicious examples of these cards from some of my favorite Marseille decks, and we're gonna go out into the garden and we are going to locate these rather rambunctious energies. So let's get on out there. It's a gorgeous day. Oh, it's so sunny. And so it's not super bright. It's just like, it's like perfect. Not too windy, just a little breeze, warm sun on your face. It'll be a good time. So let's go. Come on. Look who hath greeted me at the front door. Hi, Smudge. Come in. Nope. Arthur, are we gonna go find some taro in the garden? He's excited. I don't know if you guys can feel it or not, but I can really start to tell that we are just approaching the cusp of the year. Everything since the winter has just been building slowly and slowly, growing and growing up until this moment. Everything has been filling and is reaching and striving and just like putting its all into this moment that's coming. The 21st, the summer solstice, the height of the daylight of the year. That's what we're about to celebrate, and you can tell that the plants, they've really got the ability to make the most of this time of peak sunlight, of peak energy, the height of the cycle, and really it's only downhill from there. Hence our lovely tower card. These foxgloves as well, just the way they grow and reach toward the sky unknowingly until eventually leaning over a little bit. They can only go so far before one falls, and that's very tower energy. And it really wouldn't be a proper Garden Arcana video without some mandatory bee content. They just love the foxgloves almost as much as I do. The little trumpet flowers, they just get right up in there. It's adorable. Poppies are just at peak in their full glory right now also. Most of them have opened up. Big and blousy, staring at the sun, rooted in the earth, but reaching for the sky. I try to be like that also. But gosh, it looks an awful lot different than it did 6 weeks ago at the beginning of this Garden Arcana series. The lavender is just about to bloom properly. It already smells great. I can't wait. That's a beautiful Mercury Association plant for me too. And some columbine there looking starry, shiny and glorious. This poppy though, it did flop in the rain. The rain kind of knocked it over. Knocked the wind out of its sails a little bit, but they're known to do that. Poppies, I should probably stake them, but I don't. But it was a little bit of a tower moment for that particular one. Still going though. Nepeta is shiny and delightful. I just feel like a plant out here soaking up the sun, the rays on my face. There's that clematis I was talking to you about before, the Stand By Me clematis, the one with the little flowers that face downwards like our hanged man. Like, they're adorable. Well, this plant, this is a geranium, also known as a crane's bill. This is actually, put the moon card because it's the same color, but it's actually Mars energy. The pigments in these, particularly the blue flowers, were ground up and used as like war paint and protection in a going to battle sort of setting. So I was really surprised at that association for the crane spill, which was really quite cool. And this lupin over here, you can see the little spire of purple, the first one blooming. That guy's a moon reference. Lupin, lupus in Latin means wolf, and wolves in this case are associated with the moon. They have a lot of ties with the moon, the way they howl at it in the evening. So that lupin is associated with the moon. And this star is very much a reflective pool of water, much like in the star card, the way it reflects the starry sky as well as a still water reflection of the depiction in the card itself. So it's a gorgeous little moon and star next to each other there. Heyo, okay, in the garden, hanging out next to this big ol' hosta. I did a quick look just to see what plants are associated with the moon specifically, see if I could find some good ones. A lot of them that are traditionally associated with the moon, I don't grow. That's okay. I did see the poppies were, which makes sense. Poppies, they're a doer. Like, they give me death, they give me devil, they also... Moon makes sense, right? Opiates, asleep, dreaming, moon. Oh, hi Arthur. He just chased a turkey all the way to Kalamazoo. It just popped out of the hayfield, and those things are big, and it's amazing they can fly. Fly is the loose term. They just kind of like glide lowly, because those things, they weigh so much. How they can fly, it's a wonder of physics. But anywho, that was my little moon exploration. Let me see what I can do in the star department. Okay, I'm a genius, slash, not really. It was staring me in the face the whole time. So, plants, any plants within the Asteraceae family are associated with stars. I think it has something to do with the petals, them being like 5-pointed petals, which is kind of a star shape. We can get into like the pentagram, pentacle associations there. But I have some asters that I just still need to plant out. I grew them from seed. I'll show them. They're just sitting here on the porch. These guys. So there's no flowers yet, but these are asters. And then eventually when they start to grow and bloom, they don't have 5 petals actually, but they're an Asteraceae family, and they're kind of like a fluffy little thing. I'll insert a picture. They're very cute, but they just, their name alone in Greek, Asterius, god of stars, duh. So, which adds even more meaning to the Bedknobs and Broomsticks Star of Astaroth bit, if you remember that video from your childhood. So anywho, there we go. There's our very strong star association. Unfortunately, they're not blooming yet because they're just babies, but they will soon. I'll keep you updated later, but a great star reference. Love that. Oh, also, you see these babies down here? These are baby opium poppies. So the other ones are oriental poppies. They're perennial. They come back every year. They're big and blousy. These are your standard opium poppies. They're the ones that you can grow for opiates and that sort of thing. They're also very beautiful. So they've seated themselves there next to these beautiful little roses who had a bit of a rough start, but they'll be all right. They're doing good. So yeah, and there's like a whole bunch in this whole garden kind of hidden, but they're there. Little moon reference. Also, Biastrantia, which I talked about a few weeks ago, is actually still kind of blooming. And the word Astrantia has that aster at the beginning of it, which is a reference to its star-shaped flowers. So, and Asterius, and or the word aster in Greek means star. So yeah, they're still going there. Love that. Another thing I kind of wish I had growing was some self-heal, which energetically and like thematically matches the star energy of the tarot. That like calm after the storm bit of healing that one needs when crisis has happened, read the tower. So if I had some self-heal somewhere, it would be a good place to inject it, but I don't think I grow any, unless it's a weed hidden somewhere that I don't know about. But for reference, that would be a good one. And there's also a bellflower over here, or a balloon flower. It's not blooming yet. It's just a patch of green also. But again, another very good reference for, it's right here. This little patch of green. It'll be a good star reference too, but as we said, it's still green. No little purple flowers yet. Everything's just so pretty. The poppies are glowing. Roses are starting to show their face. Look at these guys. Aren't they gorgeous? Love them so much. I kind of want to cut some, bring them inside. Incroyable. Also, look at this. Let's shove you in there. That, my friends, is breakfast. Ugh. Came out of the ground. Boggles my mind every time. Tastes good. Real strawberries, man. A whole bunch more over there too. I need to get a basket. Hello, little smudge flower. Have you learned where the strawberries are yet? Little thief. You gonna take them? Boop. Going a bit to town with the star references as well. This is my first cosmos, which are named for the cosmos, which is full of stars. I do love these. They're just so simple. The bees love them. Happy little flowers, and they just have the most gorgeous and beautiful names. So I gotta get these in the ground so they can grow. But a fantastic little star reference. Beautiful. Oh, I love flowers. My gosh. Alright, so we've come back inside after that little jaunt around the garden. I only got bit by mosquitoes a couple times, so it was great. Since you've last seen it, it has rained a great deal, so you can tell just the plants just jump once they get a bit of water. Like, I can water all I want with the hose. It will not do anything near the same as a good solid rain does. We got like 20 millimeters in the last week, so yes. Plants are happy, so am I. Yeah, star is everywhere. Basically any little flower is a star, is that sign of hope, is that sign of potential for the future. And then the fool kind of hides in there too, right? Just that potential, that new beginning, that healing journey, that bright light in the darkness of something within the nothingness is the star card. That's why it's so beautiful. That's the star is the something in the nothingness. And if you want to go like extra symbolic on it, you can throw the North Star, Polaris, on there as that central axis, like the world axis, which ties into the world tree, which ties into a lot of the other themes we've been talking about already. So the star is kind of a big deal. It's it's not just like a common, beautiful and serene, at peace type of card, but it also has heavy symbolism in it. Also on both the Marseille and the Rider-Waite-Smith, right? Let me just grab the Convert one so I don't lie to you. That's kind of my basis. Yeah, there's still a bird on this one, as well as in the Rider-Waite-Smith star, and that bird is an ibis usually. And an ibis is a common animal depiction of Thoth, and we all know that Thoth is also Hermes and Mercury, so he's there hanging out with us also when we're talking about the star card too. So that little bird in the background is also very important in the star card, and I do like to see him there in all of them if possible. Just in the background, just guiding over just that little bit of knowledge and knowing and information transfer and magic, right? Especially with Thoth. He's not just the scribe, he's the god of magic too. And he, again, in the underworld, taking notes when one's heart is being weighed. He's got a big job. He's chthonic in Egyptian mythology as well as Greek, so it just means underworld god as well. Does both. Get you a god that does both. Lols. Anyway, okay, so the star. The star is wonderful. The star is beautiful. Oh, another mythological reference to the star. The star, while female in the Rider-Waite-Smith depiction, she's Ganymede, cupbearer. She can also be Iris, cupbearer to the gods as well. So there's just some other mythological associations you can plunk on the star as well. Again, much like temperance, 1 foot on land, 1 foot in water, pouring into the subconscious almost. So whenever you've got water in a tarot card, it's usually a symbol of the bits going on in your brain that you don't know about, right? Whether it's the unconscious, the subconscious, the collective unconscious, it's usually just this like this mysterious layer that we can't easily penetrate. So in the background of any of the cards, if you've got water, notice how it's, you know, sometimes it's rough, sometimes it's calm and still, sometimes there's a bit of action like being poured into or not. So water is a very strong symbol within the tarot anyway, the whole cup suit, but just in the imagery itself, in the background, it's important to have a look at. And then in the moon card, we jump right into the moon. We have that water again, right? The water from the star, but then within that water there is a creature emerging. And a lot of the times it could be like a lobster or a crab. Fun times. I love him. He's just so cute, little crustacean. But at the same time, like I see it as like a prehistoric sort of creature. Like lobsters are very, like, they evolved early and they've kind of stuck with what they've got for a long time. My understanding of science. They've got their hard outer shells, soft squishy insides. They're basically insects of the sea, right? But they're a primitive life form and it's emerging from this water of the subconscious. So the symbolism of that is that this thing that's very hard to relate to, this animal primitive aspect of the self coming out, making its way out of these waters, right? The veil of these waters. So very cool. And then you've got your two wolves, or your dog and your wolf, which I could throw my dog associations on if I wanted to. But the whole aspect here is one's a dog, one's a wolf, one is the more domesticated, like living in society aspects of yourself, and the other is that pure wildness, the instinct, the impulse. And there they both are barking at this all-seeing moon, which is beautiful and wonderful. And then in the RWS, there's a pathway that heads towards the 2 pillars, which are the 2 pillars of the High Priestess and the other cards that we see the 2-pillar representation in. So we're a little bit away from the pillars. We're far beyond. We've gone through the pillars to the other side, and now we're dealing with what's coming out of that underneath that layer of the mind and all that fun stuff. So yeah, Moon's a great card. In the Thoth as well, it represents cycles. It's a very like feminine, secret cycles card. There's literally like a little sine wave at the bottom in a suspicious color of red, which alludes to the way women experience the world and their sort of cyclical structure, which again is tied to the phases of the moon. The moon waxes and wanes, full and new, consistently, regularly, and women tend to, / people who menstruate tend to mirror that kind of pattern of personal cycle as opposed to being a solar cycle. So moon is that divine feminine, and then when we get to next week, when we talk about the sun, we'll get into that divine masculine, and then that our world, like our societal world right now, is ruled by the sun. And that's what it is, right? We are ruled by the sun. We have our Gregorian calendar is based on the cycles and phases of the sun. So we live a sun-based life. We're all just sunny little pagans, whether we know it or not. But anyway, that's fun. That's about all I'm gonna touch on, I think, on the moon right now, because I could. Is there more? In a perfect world, I would have got up last night and filmed some moony action. I don't think it's new. I'm pretty sure we're at about like just past a quarter. Let me check my app. Oh yeah, we're waning crescent, so we're on our way to new moon. It'll be a new moon in a day or so, so there wouldn't be much there to see, but yeah. Anyway, okay, the moon. We're going not in order at all, but that's okay for today. And the last one is the tower. And I didn't want to find this a lot of places in the garden because the tower is such a like volatile energy. It is a fire card. It's ruled by Mars. I guess I could throw a few Mars associated plants up, but again, the tower is a punctuation mark in your life. Not necessarily good, not necessarily bad, just is that punctuation mark. Something has happened, something is upturned. Something is earth-shattering, and it's going to change the way of your life forever, and the way you see your life forever. And it's not necessarily bad. Tower moments can be the best thing that ever happened to you, and a lot of people say that, but they can also be the worst thing that ever happened to you too. Again, it's a question of perspective and how you experience them. But sorry, let's find all my tower cards. I've got extra ones because in the I have so many tower cards. In the Triumphi, there's 3, and I kept them all in because why not, right? But let's start with the convert, the Nicholas Convert, Terre de Marseille. And these are French, and it's called the Maison Dieu, which I like because the translation of that literally means a house of God. And it's reference to the Tower of Babel, and being cast from it due to Grandois' ideas, thinking one can get too close to that God. It's a very Christian perspective as well. A lot of other spiritual perspectives kind of tie us in with that godlike energy, but in this context it is a Christian mythology reference, and it's just that, you know, you are not, like, if you try to get too close, it's that Humpty Dumpty on the big wall thing, you will fall, and that's what will happen. So it's a life-altering event. That's usually an act of God, I guess one can say. The lightning rod on the Rider-Waite-Smith, like the way the lightning kind of comes in at an angle, that matches the pattern on the Tree of Life, which is the lightning path, which goes from Keter and then zings all the way down the Sephiroth to Malkuth. So it's very much it's the quick fire path to knock you right back down to earth again. So it's kind of what happens. So that's that reference there. So again, sometimes one needs to be brought right back down to earth, grabbed by the ankles and yanked back down, firmly planted, because you need to be both rooted as well as facing upwards like a flower, you know? Oh, hey Arthur, how you doing, buddy? You come to talk tarot with me? Gosh, you're gross. He's the slobberiest dog. My goodness. But yeah, so that's the tower. In the new choice, Terre de Marseille, it's like a little Berlin club with a bunch of fun colors erupting from the top of it, which is neat. It's actually kind of coming from the sun into the building and having been cast out. But again, that's just like a nice little fun depiction there. But when we get into the Triumphi cards, which are very fun, there's our traditional tower, so very similar to the other ones we've got there, and it's labeled the tower. And then you've got the House of God, like I said, but in this depiction, which some Marseille decks do have it like this, it's someone being ushered out of this building, being like taken out, being like, sorry, you're not allowed to be here, and like removed from. So it's a symbol of being removed from your belief, your God, your deity, your idealized version of the universe, you know? So that's a nice, fun, and different kind of perspective on the tower card, but I do like it. And as much as I lament having 3 tower cards in a tarot deck, because it does increase the chances of them coming up, it's a good deck to know that, like, if you're going through a tower moment, that's one to kind of explore things around. And then the last one is called the Lightning, and it's, again, just that, the lightning path, the way the lightning is a symbol of Zeus as well, even though this is a Mars card, which is, like, not mythologically aligned. For me, Zeus is Jupiter, which is the wheel card, but for argument's sake, thunderbolts are a symbol of Zeus, so the lightning is, you know, act of God. Deus ex machina, that phrase, means God in the machine, which means when God intervenes, and Deus is Zeus when you spell it out in Greek. That's like when Zeus intervenes, when Zeus throws his hand in to set things the way he wants, that's the tower card. And in the context of that phrase, it's when it steps in to improve things. So a tower moment, like I said, can be good. It can save the day at the last minute for no reason. It's also a literary device when the writers don't know how to wrap up things properly. We get a nice big, oh, the universe made it right in the end anyway, la la la, kind of thing. So yes, lightning associated with the tower, the lightning path and the Tree of Life. Sharp, sudden change, very explosive, energetic event, but it will set you on your path, and it's where you're gonna go, and it was always gonna happen anyway. And it's, you know, it's the direction, it sets things in motion in the direction you're supposed to go. It's like accelerated growth when the tower does come up. even though sometimes it feels like it sucks so much. So anywho, the garden references to the tower that kind of came up, like the foxgloves kind of growing upwards and upwards and upwards until eventually they start like leaning over. That was kind of a very similar kind of tower energy for me that I could fathom. And there's a few other flowers that kind of do that, like the lupins, but again, the lupins being that lupine, that wolf moon kind of energy, I wanted to throw them in there with the moon card. So yes, tarot in the garden, it's everywhere. And I can't believe there is but 1 week left. We've done it, oh my goodness. So if you made it, if you're following along with these, thank you so much. It means literally so much. I can't express enough how grateful I am for you guys at this, because this is my jam. This garden goodness is what I'm here for, and it's like peak season right now. So 1 more week with Candy next week. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to see her video for this week. I want to see where she finds the tower in the garden. A good example would be if I had some trees come down, or some like catastrophic tree falling event, which is kind of also very often depicted in Rider-Waite-Smith clone decks as well, like lightning hitting a tree or a tree falling down, or some like, oh that's really sad, like event that changes the natural world around it. So anyhow, thanks so much for being here. Can't wait to see Candy's video. Don't forget to check her out, please. Like, Candy makes some of the best tarot tube content out there, so give her some love for me, and I will see all you fine people in my next video.